Shalom. Hey guys. It's it's been a minute. It's going to continue to be a minute cuz I won't be back in the States till around end of January, and then I have I have a lot of people I need to talk to basically cuz it's been 6 months. Um but yeah. This is half scripted. This is going to be weird. Like I originally tried to like wing it, and then I got sick and I didn't feel like editing the wung part. So yeah, and then I wrote up my thoughts and was like, okay, we're gonna like ad-lib the script. So I've got a script in front of me. Hopefully there's gameplay on the screen. I hope editing me didn't get lazy. But did you like the shitpost thumbnail? I spent way too much time on it, but it was really fun to make. I could not come up with a good idea, so I came up with a bad idea and ran with it. But yeah, hi. It's been a year. So officially the channel birthday is December 29th. There's a story behind that, but we'll get to it. Yeah, what do I even say? So it's been a year and we hit 100 subs, roughly around the same time. That's pretty hype. I wasn't expecting that. We're actually over 100 now, which is really cool. I have a lot of plans for next year. Hopefully they go well and maybe we'll explode. If not, I'm having fun. I hope y'all are having fun. That's all that matters in my eyes. But yeah, this is it's for a hobby to last this long for me and to not have just like dropped it repetitively, and then picked it up and at random, like basically to consistently work on a hobby for a year is an accomplishment in itself. To get 100 subs is an accomplishment. Both are, well, I'll say 100 subs is probably the smaller accomplishment of the two for me, I would say. I don't know, I don't really have a scale, but both are extremely meaningful, and a lot of that's just because I'll quote my notes here, right? Achieved in no small part to lots of effort and the kindness of strangers. So like, y'all were very motivating. You kept me going, other content creators kept me going, other friends kept me going. Like, we lasted a year. That's probably the biggest accomplishment. The second biggest accomplishment is, wow, we hit 100 subs. Like, it's mind-blowing, you know? It happened and I don't really know how to feel about it. I have no scale, no measure for it. It just wasn't a thing I was expecting to happen by the end of the year. Because growth is like, you think a year and 100 subs, and like that seems fairly disproportionate amount of effort for reward. But at the same time, like, it's pretty valuable on a platform this big and with so many people talking about games on the platform. To get noticed even that amount is pretty cool, because 100 subs is like 100 people. Sure, some of them are my personal friends. Probably one or two of them is like an alt account or whatever of mine that probably like Couch Rawls is subscribed or whatever. And then my viewing account that I don't use. I just use I really need to like actually use a viewing account. But anyway, like, you know, there's a good number of people that like of their own accord chose to sub, and that's really important because each of the people are an individual, and the fact that they came and saw everything and chose to like want to see more, that's just fucking awesome in my eyes, you know? Because I haven't made the best content this year, but I am glad people see the growth and are interested in what's to come. And that's all to say. Watch Darkfry's video about numbers. Numbers are really cool. Darkfry's really cool. I might link it. I probably won't, but it's a video basically talking about how like 100 subs, 1,000 subs, a million subs, it doesn't really matter, because all of those are people that have chose to pay attention to your hobby and your craft, and that is monumentous. That some stranger, possibly in a foreign country right now, possibly from my home country, is like caring about what I say and do. And that's just wild to me, that people actually want to hear my voice. Yeah. Like I said, I'm ad-libbing. Let's get on with it. I don't want this to be a long video. So yeah, in my notes I have like, there's no better way to start than with a thank you. Thank you. This is a small project of mine that's been incredibly fulfilling and satisfying. I really enjoy the sense of improvement, the creative process, and the constant learning I'm forced to like endure. I love the fact that gaming has become like a healthy hobby instead of something that I feel guilty about. And all of that has like really helped my mental health because I didn't really do any creative hobbies for like 2-4 years. Just because I had like other stuff going on in my life, and I kind of forget about that part of my life, and it kind of like was draining not doing anything. And even if it's like, even if my craft is not as refined as I want it to be, like even if it's not like producing pieces of work that I'm always proud of or will be proud of in the future, like the fact that I'm making something right now is really meaningful because I used to do that a lot before I basically stopped like going to school. Like high school, I spent a lot of time writing, drawing, reading, like just everything, right? And then when I like basically started working full time, I let a lot of that slide. Just like it was removed from my life. I was in survival mode for probably a couple of years. Just like months at a time, I'd just go into survival mode and then I would recover and would branch out again like as a person. But I wouldn't really have that consistency. So to say that like y'all motivating me to continue working actually helped improve my quality of life, it's not a stretch, it's a reality. And it's just been a really like wonderful experience recovering and like going back to trying to be creative. I definitely feel like, you know, my thumbnails aren't always the prettiest, my scripts aren't always the most interesting, even if they're coherent, which was like they're little goals, right? So like even if it's not like the most, I guess to summarize the year, it's to say that like even if it's not the best work out there, the fact that something's being made at all, no matter the quality of it, has just been really significant to my personal outlook on life and my like ego. The fact that I'm doing something is really motivating. The fact that I'm productive at all in my free time is gratifying, and the fact that like even a small amount of people care, which I guess 100 is not that small. I mean, I really don't know how to feel about this number. It's so wild that we hit it, because it is small, but like in the grand scheme of things, it's not small, but it is, right? There are a lot of people on this earth, and 100's not that many, but at the same time, there's a lot of work being done, and the fact people would siphon their time to credit me with just a little button press is it's pretty cool. I think it's really cool. Shit. I'm like dying. I'm like, this video would have come out sooner, or at least been like prepared sooner, but I get this is gonna be like the trigger word of the day, right? This is gonna be the demonetization word, right? I'm not even monetized, who cares, right? I got COVID. I was fucking dying. Oh my goodness. Get your booster. Don't just get vaxxed. Get your booster. That shit sucked. Oh my goodness. Where was I? Oh my goodness. Oh, like another cool thing about like the channel was like I didn't just meet the coolest community ever. I also got to like join a lot of smaller communities around games and like play a lot of like hidden gems or off the beaten path. Like I played a lot of indie games. I was expecting to go more into retro this year, and I ended up just going like very, very indie. Partly because I had a lot of people feeding me really cool indie games, telling me to play them, and I was like, oh, these are cool recommendations, I'm gonna hop on this shit now. But also just because like I had the best experience with the indie communities. They're so small, and their creators will actually like, I guess, acknowledge the fact that you like gave them attention. Basically, you give them attention, they give you attention back. It's like a really nice exchange. Their communities are super wholesome because they're just like, they're not people who are like trying to gatekeep. They are so desperate for more attention and love and like people participating in their communities that you like, it's just a super wholesome experience. That's why I covered a lot of indie games, because it was just like, it was always just a positive experience. Don't get me wrong, retro games I also had a positive experience with, but it wasn't as like modern. People are like always excited to see you talk about retro games that are kind of out of the loop. But with like an indie game, it's kind of like the now thing. It's like, oh, I want it to get bigger now. So yeah, it was cool. It was super cool. It was super cool to like play a lot of like new games because that was part of the channel, was like I wanted to like start picking away at my library and actually beating games instead of just playing Dota 2 every day, which I'm back to doing because that ego, we are passing time. We're doing our best to make the time go by, because my goodness, it is a struggle sometimes. What was I even gonna like talk about next? Oh, yeah, this is cool. So I basically broke up my release dates into like little eras of this year. And the first era was what? It was Sunnyside, it was Tactics Ogre, and it was Night of Lodis, by the way. Everhood. And I wanted to release these videos like on the exact predetermined date of the birthday of the channel, right? And that was going to be the 29th of December, and it ended up not working out that way. I made Tactics Ogre Night of Lodis, I made Sunnyside, and then I made Everhood, I think, within the span. But I would end up releasing Sunnyside earlier, because I wanted to support the Kickstarter while it was relevant. So that's the second video I've ever made, but the first I ever published. Cool little tidbit there, right? And Tactics was actually the first video I ever made, if you can't tell. And all of these videos, for a couple eras, basically like until I go on hiatus, my videos audio are consistently not great or even bad, and are all not consistent until once we go on hiatus. I exclusively start using OBS. I am gonna have a change because I'm gonna go from the Snowball back to my we're gonna use my Audio Technica, but this time we're gonna like literally copy paste the audio filters I have on my OBS setup over onto my desktop setup with the Audio Technica. So my audio quality might change, but it'll be for the better. And it's really just like, I've had a decent mic for a long time. It's just using Audacity requires such a level of like understanding of what the fuck is going on, and I didn't have it, and at a certain point I did have to just be like, all right, we're learning a lot of things right now. That's good. This is not something I need to play with anymore. Let's dumb it down. Let's do it right, and let's focus on improving other quality. Because like the fact that I was so obsessed with trying to increase audio quality while trying to increase other things, like creativity and writing and stuff. Yeah, it's just too much going on. I needed to like start fixing problems and not just like learn skills, fix problems, keep moving, keep next problem. Because there's a list of things that you need to improve on, and as you get better, you get worse because you start realizing what else you're doing wrong. And so like it's more about a sense of progression than it is getting hung up on something like that, especially when there's such an easy fix. Just use OBS, give yourself a few filters, make it sound good, make sure you're using a headset that isn't so bad that you can't even tell that you sound bad or that other people sound bad, and run with it. That was part of my problem, actually. I had like an Amazon headset. It was really bad. Now I have studio headphones, and like, oh, it's such a like I actually like can understand music and the appeal and like the intricacies of it on a very surface level, which is so nice. It's so pleasant. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Anyway, to summarize, I really like these first 3 videos of mine, mostly because they're just authentic. Like, okay, each of them have different strengths and weaknesses because, again, I'm playing around with what I'm trying to say and how I'm trying to say it. I have my audio issues, they all have that. Sunnyside probably sounds the worst of them because it's slightly off and how like my voice comes across. Sunnyside was like a lot of editing, strong, very personal points. The game was like very the review was very like subjective, and it was not dry. I was super excited about talking about the game. Really like that video. Wish it didn't sound like shit. It's okay. We get a second chance when Sunnyside has its official early access or full release. Probably both. Because I've only played the game like beta, and I didn't really dive into it because I want to experience a bit more of a robust. It looks great. I'm really excited to talk about it once it's out, and I can like, you know, find my own footage, which is kind of a pet peeve. I like finding my own footage. I hate using other people's footage. It's such a weird thing. But like, yeah, we'll get a second chance with that. Tactics was my first attempt at like mechanical. It was my first attempt at explanation in general in a video format. Quote, I'd done Steam reviews, but this is like my first video review. And like, I actually really enjoyed my mechanical explanation of, you know, TRPGs, SRPGs, whatever, TBTs. And I actually like, was able to use my experience in the genre to simply but effectively phrase why I think the game was well done, like, and why it was not just accessible, but also had depth for experimentation and expression. Mechanical expression is something I actually really prioritize in my games. And I just felt that I was actually really effective, quick, and comprehensible with what I said. So I actually really like that. I also, like, one thing I really like about the tactics video is I managed to summarize the plot just like that, and then I talk about, like, the themes briefly, I summarize the plot, and then I basically just say, hey, the rest of the story is there, go play it, right? If that sounds yeah, like, I give it a hook, I make my own hook for the game's plot and say, go at it, right? If it sounds interesting, go for it. That was cool. I want to do that more. Then we have Everhood. And Everhood's probably, like, the most amateur of my videos, because I don't cut or, like, retake a lot of audio clips, and, like, I will just say, like, I'll mispronounce something and then be like, fuck, I mispronounced that, and then just leave it in the video or something. I put jokes in the video. Like, actually, I think I had some really quality humor in there, and, like, it was a video with a lot of problems, I think. But at the same time, I really like the amateur charm to it, and how it actually is one of the better videos on the entire channel so far that captures that, like, very personal feeling of mine, that feeling of, like, oh, I can be funny and talk about games and, like, express myself and have a personality as I analyze things, you know? Which I kind of struggle with now. Like, I'm so scared to, like, make a joke that doesn't land, or I'm, like, afraid of offending people, and, like, my Everhood video is just, like, kind of wholesome, but funny, and I haven't been able to, like, be comfortable, because, like, the Everhood video, I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna make this video, and, like, I was just, like, so comfortable in the fact that, like, oh, it's gonna be bad, but who cares? And that allowed me to, like, really get out of my shell in that video, and I really want to replicate that feeling. There's a lot of, like, little things each video does that I want to carry with me, like how Tactics explains things, how, like, well edited and robust the editing was, and the quick transitions and everything, and basically how, like, because I had so little footage and I knew the footage would get boring, I made it the entire visuals of the video about constant edits and frames, like, all this shit. And I really love the editing and the passion in the Sunnyside video. I really love the script of the Tactics video. I love the, like, personality of the Everhood video, I guess is what I should say. That was such an experimental era. And then we hit, like, the golden era. It's really not the best era, but it's, like, it's the era where, like, the games were, like, so important to me. Oh my goodness, give me a second, I need water. I'm still, like, coughing, by the way. Like, it's been like over a week, maybe two, and, like, I'm still coughing. It's miserable. Ugh. So the next game is, how do I say it? Okay. Golden era. In memory, but not really. The games are, the videos aren't. The Last Story was a tremendous game I wasn't equipped to cover. I'm still probably not equipped to cover. The script was massive. It got cut in half. That's why the video feels so shallow and hollow and like it's half of a script. I've tried rewriting the script more now than I haven't. Like, when I first wrote the script, it took me like 7 fucking tries. Now I've already rewritten the script 7 more times post-release, just trying to say what I was trying. Like, this is a game I actually have grown to love more and more post-release, and post-play, and I really want to go back and talk about this more, because there's something extremely special about this game, and I can't put it into words, but I will, one day. So The Last Story is, like, another one of those, like, Sunnysides where I'm, like, and same with, like, Tactics. Like, Tactics will get a glow up when I talk about Tactics Ogre, Let Us Cling Together, or Reborn, whatever. The Last Story will get a glow up because I'm going to directly remake that video, probably. I have to. It's so important to me, and the video is so... Like, I was so desperate to release something, and I could not, for the life of me, get that script nailed down, so I just did, like, a quick release did my edits, did my shitty audio, and then like the last story was like as a video was born, which is funny because like the title is like too ambitious or something, like too ambitious for its own good, which like applies to both like the video script and to the game itself. So like we there's like a little bit of like kinship. I don't even know what I can't even think of the word right now, but there's like this similarity between like me and the game, both struggling to say something neither of us can effectively. The last story says it is the difference. It just says it with frame drops, and I don't say it at all. I say half of what I want to say. Not even. I want to do such a big video there. But, you know, it's a game that's like, I'm gonna go back and talk about it somewhere. And then we have, like, Unsighted, which, like, was my first big success. It was, like, my first 200 views or whatever. And, like, it had such an effect on, like, my personal outlook. It had an effect on, like, my community. And, like, basically, once you, like, release a game that's, like, pro-LGBTQ, you're, like, identified as, like, not one of those video essayists, right? I don't know, I don't know, but, like, I basically was, like, it's a safe haven, you know, we're all people. I don't care, right? Like, and this was the game that kind of, like, helped me empathize with that community as well. And that's, like, the whole, like, theme of the video is, like, the game is not something I would normally enjoy. Like, it's talking about a story that I don't really relate to, and they managed to make it relatable. They're using a genre that I don't actually enjoy. Like, Metroidvanias are not my thing, and I absolutely loved, because they just, intelligent design, right? Like, it has such a strong, like, conceit, and how it makes, like, the narrative and the mechanics that should be, like, serious and difficult, they make them approachable and even fun. And, like, that was just awesome. Like, it was also, like, the first time I ever talked about, like, public spoilers, which is difficult, but it's something I need to actually implement more. It's something that, like, takes a lot of practice, I think, where you kind of, like, you learn how to summarize a plot, and then you learn how to, like, break it down and say, hey, this is the spoiler section. But, you know, like, this is, like, the basis for how I approach it later. I think this is also, like, when I start using chapter cards or something. I actually have no idea when I started using chapter cards. It is actually the first video that had the outline for the thumbnail, and then I would go back and change some of the older thumbnails because they just looked, like, some of them still look awful, don't get me wrong, but I had to, like, I just standardized it for a simple appeal, simple look. And I actually really like the outline. It's not, like, super, like, oh, I see this thumbnail and it looks like Couch MOBA. No, but, like, it's a little tidbit that just helps, like, standardize stuff and create, like, a visual theme that, you know, we're going to try to implement more and more of that stuff, where I try to make all my videos look, like, all my thumbnails look a very specific way. But, like, again, it took me, like, a year to nail down, like, this is our outline. This is our color scheme. This is, like, how we do color here. This is how we put, like, it took me, like, a year to do that. So, like, give me another year to continue to refine, right? Where was I? Yes. I actually think Unsighted is probably the most significant video in my early days. It is awesome. I love the script. I loved how, like, personal it is. I love how it talks about, like, a game that I don't even, like, I should not like Unsighted, and it explains why I do really well. The game's a joy to look at. I don't know if I do a lot of edits. I don't really care if I do. The game's just beautiful. It's hard not to look at. Like, oh my goodness, it's such a good game. I think the transition cards in this video are, like, kind of shitty, but I also don't care because the videos, if the audio wasn't that bad, like, the audio's okay. Like, I think it's bearable at this point. But, like, if the audio is, like basically passing quality, this video would be so fucking good. I actually really like this video. And then, like, then we have Omori, which is just another last story. Like, it was afraid to, I was afraid to spoil the experience too much to commemorate it. And I ended up talking a lot about the gameplay system. I don't really know why. I don't think I'm the most mechanical, like, gamer. I hate that word. It's like, it shouldn't be, like, I should just be able to say it, but it has such a connotation with it. But, like, I'm not a mechanical player, right? I like stories. Everything I do is usually for a story's sake. I love to enjoy stories, but I also play, like, fighting games, and I think, like, you know, there's a player emergent narrative between player versus player. That's pretty interesting, but like, then I can't even make that argument. Like, I do like mechanics. When I talk about games, I did not know this until I started talking about games. I would talk about the mechanics. I would talk about the intricacies. I would talk about how like little things affect play that matter to me. Like, basically I would identify, you know, in this type of genre, these are my pet peeves. This is what this game does about it or doesn't do. And like I think I'm actually mechanically minded more than I think. Then again, I am a network engineer, like I have to be logical to a point, but I don't know, like Omori's a game where I look at it and I'm like, wow, this is a narrative heavy game. Why do I spend like 10 minutes talking about the mechanics of the RPG? What? And it to be fair, Omori's RPG system is not my favorite, but because of the what's called the team attack mechanic, it makes it like bearable, and I can kind of just force my way through it without grinding, so it's fine. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I ended up talking about like the gameplay system and the design motif with contrast more than the story. And like I don't think I did a spoiler section. I had like this really cringy transition of being like edgy, dark, trauma, and like but like it could have been a better video. It's sad because like Omori is actually like such a good game. These are all great games. Granted, Unsighted I think I did a good job talking about. I even shouted out the besties, who don't need a shout out, by the way, but I thought it's good to credit like where recommendations come from, right? Like I don't know if I even credited like Mara and Vec were the reason I started playing Zelle, and like that video bombed, but who cares? I hope I gave them credit for that, because that was such a fun game. It's such a short but like tight experience. Anyway, this was like a really cool era. It was really good games, and sometimes even videos. And like I did try to experiment, but there was a lot of like honing here instead of experimentation. Like I wasn't trying to innovate every video. I was just trying to like get better at the little things. But I also think I like hyperfixated a lot on my scripting and didn't really like, I was worried about improving my writing more than I was worried about talking probably about the right things. It's just it's a really weird era, and it's sad because like a lot of these videos could have actually been like the growers of the channel. Like Unsighted has like kind of grown over time. Omori and like the last story, like they dropped, they hit a certain marker, they hit a few, they like gained like a dozen views with this big release of a video and then another dozen with this, but they don't grow because they are just like, they're not quality enough to succeed, which is sad because like Omori and the last story are games that deserve that approach, that amount of quality from me, and they didn't get it. I'm kind of like, nah, I'm pretty sad about that, but they're games I would have never played and beaten, at least within the time frame that I did without the channel being present, and that's pretty hype. Ah, yes. The next era of the channel was, I have a fondness from it, but like, it doesn't really have like a consistent motif or conceit or whatever. But my, like, this is where my audio like started to like get bearable, I guess. Like, this is the marker where I would say it's got bearable. All of them had effort in scripts and editing, because there are videos like in the past and even now where like I will have weaker scripts just like in general, or I will have weaker edits in general, and I'd say that like this is a part where like my pace got very formulaic. Like I knew what I was making, I knew what I was doing, and I was able to like just kind of produce steadily. And that's really because I was playing some shorter games, I was doing some smaller projects, I was doing some weirder stuff that just was by nature of it formulaic. But anyway, to start, I did Iron Lung on a whim. A friend of mine dared me to play it, and I was like, oh, this is cool, I'm gonna talk about this, right? It was a very tight, to the point review. Maybe a little too much. It wasn't a very creative script, but like it was a very effective script, which I kind of like. So it was super fun to make. It was like a YouTube short review. Granted, it's like 4 minutes long, but like I just say what I have to say and I'm done. So it's not the most creative video. It did have good editing. For what editing was there, it was good enough, right? The thumbnail was lacking, but the theme of the video was minimalism, because the theme of the game is like minimalistic horror, I guess. It's a very like quickly made horror game. So like the fact that the thumbnail is super minimalistic, even if it looks bad, and the script is super minimalistic is fine. I think the script more so because the script actually comes across like with a sense of competency, whereas like the thumbnail doesn't come across with a sense of competency. But fuck it, I'm a small YouTuber and I was going for something, so yeah. Star Wars Turn was cool. I spent like 20 hours playing this random MOBA with friends, and I wanted to like really make like a video crediting myself to like MOBAs, because it's part of my name. I was like, I have to talk about MOBAs, and I'm not talking about League or Dota or Smite or Here's the Storm. Like, I'm not ready. So I was like, oh, this game looks sick. I want to play this game. And like, it was the first time I wasn't playing to beat a game. Excuse me. I need more water. So it's the first time I was trying to like not beat a game but talk about it, and so I was like, we'll do 20 hours. We'll call it a first impression. That's fine. And then I talk about a MOBA, which I feel I'm fairly competent enough to talk about MOBAs. They're a genre I have way too much time in. My favorite part about this video, however, is probably like the transitions, just featuring commentary between my friends and myself. Like that was really, really entertaining. It kept the video engaging. It kept it like fun for me. And if I ever do like another multiplayer game review, like basically if I ever play another game with the intention of like reviewing it because it's like primarily a multiplayer game where I'm reviewing like the multiplayer experience, expect similar transitions to follow unless my footage fucks up, which happens because when we're recording as a group, I'm like not fiddling with footage like settings. I'm like trying to get it going as quickly as possible and play it as quickly as possible. But like that's the goal. Like I want to do another video like this because I thought the transitions were funny. Like I really enjoyed it, and it actually like has some like personality in it. As I'm like, I think I'm a little too dry, but like I don't really know how to fix that, I guess, when I write. But you know, we live and learn. That's all. But like the transitions were a nice touch to like spice it up. If I do like occasional jokes in my script and then a little bit of editing to support the joke, and then I have transitions that are funny, that are like both, they're not just like they're comedy, but they're also relevant to what I'm talking about. Like if I do that, I feel like my videos are gonna have a lot of life in them. They'll be taken a little bit less seriously, but like that's not necessarily the bad thing. It's okay to be entertaining while being like analytical, I think. And then we talk about milk outside a bag, which I'm just like, I don't credit anxiety enough in this. Like I don't try to apply my own experiences to anxiety, which this game is really about, I think. So my script was a bit too safe, and instead I tried to like, I read about spoon theory, so I was like, oh, let's put spoon theory and milk and talk about them at the same time. And you know, I guess the script just felt a little unfocused and not very personal. What I was talking about wasn't very interesting, I guess. Like maybe I don't explain the music well enough. Maybe, you know, like I can't really grasp the visual style because it's fairly simple. And I can't really explain anxiety well because it's not something I deal with consistently. I deal with it very, very rarely, and it's a very like private matter. So I don't think I went into this with the right mentality and the script. And I think that to do so, I would have had to open up about things that I'm not comfortable opening up about. Like I remember like I was happy with the script at the time, but it's talking like it's approaching the game's narrative, the game's purpose at a very like odd angle, and I think it just doesn't resonate. I also will say like the thumbnail's a little crummy, but I just really liked how the protagonist looked in the second game, so I was like, how do I just throw this on the screen? You know, throw it on the screen, get it done with, release it, right? Oh, and then we have the black sheep of like my entire channel right now. And I love my black sheep so very much. The DFO video, wow. It has some edits on the screen. It has some like, I'm talking about like so basically there's some footage where like the edits are on the screen too long and it kind of looks fuzzy. There's the mismatched aspect ratio, which it's because I was watching Drive, so like my recording software like fucked up because I had Drive on like the other screen. I was grinding and watching Drive while playing an MMO. Like it's not that crazy, right? This happens. I'm sorry, but man, this is cool. I feel like MMOs as a genre don't get enough credit to the single player leveling experience. Like WoW's is really bad. Like I don't enjoy WoW's leveling experience at all. But like DFO was fun mostly because the game's mechanically interesting. Same for like WoW's mechanically interesting, but I have much but like it's so easy and it's so much running around that it has too many lulls to ever feel like I'm expressing myself mechanically. Whereas like DFO is just a fighting game, like it's a beat 'em up fighting game on wheels. Like you run around a lot, but you're like right back to the action so quickly. It was a very formulaic video, but like I that was kind of the intention. Like it's just kind of a quick like, oh, I played 100 hours of this game, compact it down, be like, I have maxed out like 2, almost 3 characters. I think I have maxed out 3 characters until now because 110 cap. But like this was a fun video. I get to watch. I wasn't watching a lot of Twitch this year simply because I was busy and because like I guess a lot there's a lot of like story behind that. Like one of my favorite content creators that I watched every morning stopped streaming, and then I started following another one and I watched him every morning, and he also stopped streaming for very sad reasons. And like I fell off Twitch, but like one thing that kept me on Twitch was watching DFO streams and talking with their community. And like I've spoken to DFO content creators, I've been in their chats, I've been in their communities, their discords, and like talked about this game, and I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube even about this game. Like this was a fun project to do research for, to be involved in the community with, and to release just something small crediting a game that is really big in a lot of countries but ours. And that was just cool. Also, it's very fun playing DFO, so like I really enjoyed my time. I thought this was cool. I like MMOs. I'm gonna do more MMO content. That's all. It's like it's a formulaic video that's off-brand for the channel, but I want to make it on brand by making more of them. And it's something just to break up the pace of like the standard game review. So while each game review tries to like innovate on itself, I like that this is like a formulaic creative idea, and I want to make it like a series that I pick at over time. Now, if I only get through 1 MMO a year, so be it. But that's all. I really enjoyed this one. I'm really happy about this video because again, it was cool being in like communities and stuff and doing research for stuff. And then, you know, I get bad news. I get a very short amount of time, and I wake up, drink no water, I have a voice like gravel, I sound depressed. I'm really not that depressed. Just not that much. So I sit down and I make a video that makes it sound like I'm depressed because I just woke up, I've got no water, I'm wanting to get the video done because I'm scared that I'm not going to get it done in time, and then I do that. Oh, I got a phone notification, sorry. One sec. I'm just gonna set this to do not disturb. Okay. And then I like sit down, pack, and then I'm like, all right, well, now I've got like a day to do something. What's an idea that's been sitting on my head that I can just immediately turn into a script because I think about it so much in my like subconscious, unconscious, whatever. And yeah, Types of Strategy Games was made, and it's my biggest reveal. I made that video in like a day. I made the script in like a day. I literally sat down and was like, this is something I've been thinking about. This is something I can talk about. I want to talk about this. This is a pet peeve, blah, 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 blah. Top video on my channel to this day. We live in a society. I don't know what to tell you. Types of Strategy Games. It has simple edits that I actually like. I watched like Uber Danger or something and was like, how does this guy edit? And I was like, well, maybe I could do a little bit of what he does in this video with like the name of the thing and then the definition, which he's doing, I think, ironically to make fun of people that do that. And I'm like, oh, I like that. I'm gonna do that. But yeah, that was something. Like I needed to. I feel happy when I produce something, and I was like, I'm gonna produce something, and you know, hot damn, the video did well for something that I produced in a very short amount of time. And I guess I need to do more videos like that, and I do plan on doing some more. It's just like I'm scared that I'm going to release one and it's not going to do as well as types of strategy games, but you know, shit happens, right? Oh, also the types of strategy games video, that was also on that was like the last video I did on Audacity, and I actually had a friend that's really good with audio come in and like fix my Audacity settings for me, and that's why it sounds a bit clearer. But yeah, then there's this is a very interesting era. It's called the I'm kind of depressed and want to do video stuff because it's fun despite the conditions era, and where I finally stopped using Audacity. So my audio is consistent and bearable for like 3 videos? Yeah. I also took the Mara pill with thumbnails. I started playing a lot more with like text and color. The Zelle video is not only recommended to me from her and her community, but the Zelle video is also like the thumbnail is directly inspired by Mara bullshit, because oh my goodness, Mara Ganger has fucking phenomenal thumbnails. Holy shit. I'm doing my best to be my own person with my thumbnails, but also like make them better, specifically because Mara won't stop posting like box art cover and album cover art and making good thumbnails and finding other people make good thumbnails and then posting them on Twitter and shit. I'm just like, oh my goodness, I suck. I need to improve so quick, so much, so fast, and I'm trying. I have some cool thumbnails in the works, but I can't like show them off until the videos are done and the games are recorded and all that, right? But yeah, Zelle. What was Zelle? That was a video. That was a very me video, actually. I talk a lot about like religion, because I think excuse me. I think Zelle's actually like really intelligent with how it approaches religion, and I feel like it did its research and it criticizes it in like a respectful way, and like I just sit there and commentate on it because I actually really like religious discussion. I love religious mythos. I got an opportunity to talk about like my own religion and vent some of my frustrations with it, and like appeal to the crowd. Like my only problem with this video is like I didn't really give like I acknowledged that they were acknowledging problems, but I wasn't providing like solutions, which I feel like I'm almost a representative in a way, and I feel like I should have. But they were talking more about like Catholicism, and I can't really quote on that. I also can't really quote on like why the church is the way it is, because I'm just, you know, a person that reads a book and tries to like do the right thing, right? Really cool and interesting video though. I'm proud of this script. I need to go back and actually read it. I hope it ages well, and you know, doesn't attract too many haters, because you know, people that are pro and anti-religion are going to come to the video, and both of them are going to complain. But you know, I was just ranting about like religion and Zelle, which I think is cool. I really enjoyed both. Then there's Exocolonist, really fucking cool game, beautiful soundtrack. I think I gave it soundtrack of the year or something for Steam Game Awards, because I do just sit down and put on like the 2-hour long soundtrack and just listen, especially while writing. Yeah, it's such a good soundtrack. But you know, like I didn't do a lot of editing. There's like almost no edits in the video. It was just cuts of the game footage. I did a really lazy thumbnail, but I did do some color changes with it because I thought it needed it. And like the script was fairly bland because I spread it a little too thin. A spoiler section could have made it tighter as a whole. I'm actually kind of mad at myself for that one, because I feel like if I made a spoiler section and like talked about the game a bit more, like it would have credited it better. But in all fairness, I was not in the best mood when I made that video. I love the game, don't get me wrong, but where I was not a great place. So I made not a good video because not happy. But you know, it's one of those things. Wonderful game, love the game. Absolutely happy I got to play that game, and recommend it to my friend who is even more happy than I am to play it. So yeah, it's a really cool experience. Oh my goodness, how far are we in the footage? Yeah, we're like 40 minutes in. Whoops. What's bizarre is that I like to hover around like the 10 to 15 to 20 mark. And I made a 30-minute fucking monster on Amalur, because I had a lot to talk about. First, that thumbnail, I'm incredibly fucking proud of it. I love the colors. I love the inverted colors that I applied to it. I love the saturation effects I applied to it. I like how I combined multiple images to make them look like they were the same image in the first place. I like that I include the 2 primary side characters on top of the, you know, the little like surrogate for the main character thing they put on there in the main art. I love the little back thing I give. Like, there's basically a black shadow square behind the logo. This is probably my favorite thumbnail I have made yet. Absolutely fucking adore this thumbnail. Where was I going next? Ah, yes. Then I talk about the mechanics of Amalur, and I just think that I normally don't do, which I want to do more. When I have a solution for a problem I'm identifying, I should just say it. Because I did that in Amalur and actually got some praise for it. And in all honesty, like, Amalur's problem is really apparent, and I think that giving it an acknowledgement, like, as a reviewer, you do not need to have 4 years or 8 years of game review research bullshit behind you, so that way when you say something's wrong with the game, you immediately provide a solution, so that way the dev can apply it. You don't need to provide solutions. You can say something's wrong and why and be done with it. But if you can provide a solution, I actually think it adds a lot to the video, and I kind of need to, like, problem and solution hypothesize more, because I think it just adds a certain quality to the video of, like, oh, I care kind of mentality. Because, like, honestly, if Amalur had variety, I probably would have enjoyed it more, and I wish I did enjoy it more, because the game is cool. The game is fun as fuck, actually. This is one of the few videos where I'm actually fine that I didn't talk about the plot, so I didn't even add a spoiler section in, and I didn't need one, because I just immediately, like, I mean, this is kind of like, bro, take my word for it, which I don't really like, but, like, at the same time, Amalur is not about the plot. Amalur's plot is not that thick, it's not that heavy. I care about mechanics, world building, and, like, the characters, and that's really all I talk about in this video. And yeah, I'm like, maybe I need a plot recap for the characters, but at the same time, like, it just doesn't matter. Like, you're not there, and you're not playing Amalur for anything other than action RPG combat, and, like, maybe the vistas, right? So I actually really like that I gave attention to what needed attention, and, like, immediately told the audience, hey, like, this is not a focus of the game. This is not something I'm going to review for you. This is not something that you need to go into the game expecting some wonderful thing about, right? Boom. Oh, and it was funny because, like, you could probably hear it now, but there are bed squeaks because I'm not at home. I also think my, roommate walked in at, like, the later half of this video, but whatever. I'm just really happy this video did well. But now I'm scared I'm gonna make more 30-minute videos, and that's terrifying. And then in my notes it says, that's really it. I don't want to drop another 30 or, God forbid, hour-long video. Sorry. And then it goes on to say, I'm gonna cut myself short and say, you know, the main channel did a lot and has obviously improved in quality, and that's a really good thing. I'm also gonna say thank you, because shit, we made it. Like, here's to another year, right? Like, if we did 1 year, how hard could 2 be, right? So yeah, if I can get away with it, I'm gonna do more reviews. I'm gonna try to do some more short reviews. I'm gonna try to do some more long reviews. We're gonna make the short reviews more around 10 to 15, more consistent, and maybe even 5 minutes if we have to, for, like, the really short games. We're also going to make more long review games, and yeah, they're probably going to be 30 minutes or more. Hopefully more. So, like, we're going to make that contrast. We're going to do more MMO leveling reviews. We're going to try to do video essays. And I'd like to do another Kickstarter shout out if the creator will let me, because I keep asking them about it, and they keep saying wait. But, yeah. A lot happened. It was a fun year. And, I can't wait to do more. I can't wait to release more. It's gonna be another cool year. So, thanks again, and ciao.